All right, friends, I am just going to get started because I want to honor your time. So thank you so much for coming. Hi. Welcome. We are going to be talking about how universally designing our instruction and learning environments helps us to get better academic outcomes as well as behavioral outcomes. Happy day to you. My name is Wyatt, and I am on this team here. We are from the California Coalition for Inclusive Literacy. We are helping to implement universal design for learning through 5 different counties, actually 6, 7 different counties now, in the state of California. And so I'm over there, right there. I'm here, located here at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. So I get to live in the Inclusion Collaborative doing this awesome work. And we've got Sharon and Becky are up in Placer, and then we've got Elisa in Fresno. Elisa's down in LA, and my girl Sylvia is way up there in Butte County. And what we are working on is a EWIG grant through the CCEE and the CDE with CAST, and there's our counties. So thank you so much. We are thrilled, even though I'm alone, I keep talking in the we, to be here today. If you have a digital resource tool and you would like to, please go ahead, grab the slide deck. Go ahead and you can use the bit.ly, or you can use the QR code. You can save it for later. You can make your own copy. You can do a jig while you do all of these things. It is up to you. Are we live yet, friend? Hey, virtual world. I don't even know where the camera is, but hi. We love you. Thank you for joining us, and we want to make sure that you feel honored and included for being here, too. Is that you? I'm talking to that, and hi. My name is Wyatt, and I have a microphone in my hand, and I get confused if I'm a lounge singer or a presenter right now. Okay, friends, so here's our slide deck. So virtual world friends, please take note of this. I hope the QR code is working right. Grab the bit.ly, and here is our goals for today. We are going to deepen an understanding of the connections between Universal Design for Learning and PBIS. I will be reading our slides out loud, which sometimes people wonder why, but this is in service of visible accessibility because I don't know all of you well enough yet to know if you need that or not, so I will be assuming to offer that. We will also be exploring how universally designed learning experiences lead to improved behavior and academic outcomes, and we will explore how universally designed learning experiences increases access to Tier 1 instruction for all learners. Thank you for coming. I have a question. Which prince are you? That is my question. I need you all to make a choice. Take your time. And for those of you in here, if you could hold it up with your hands. Those of you out there, if you could put it in the chat, we would love to know which prince are you.
Dearly beloved,
all right, where are we?
we are gathered here today to get through
Who are you
this thing
today?
called life.
I am always on the hunt. All right, friends, there we go. That was the beginning of variability in our room, right? We saw all these different numbers over here. I know that there's a 2 out there somewhere. Oh, we have a 3. We have a 3. I know, 2. You'll show up soon. All right, so here's our agenda. We are obviously welcoming you right now. We will be going over a little Venn diagram. I love a Venn diagram. Does anybody else think in Venn diagrams ever? No, it's just me. Okay, I didn't say that. Who said that? And then we are going to go over some foundational concepts of universal design. Then we are going to dive into the design process itself. And of course, we reflect because that's where the actual learning occurs. And here is our fabulous Venn diagram. So both UDL and PBIS, they're both frameworks. Both of them are proactive and responsive at the same time. Wow. Think about that, right? We design for and then we reflect on what happened, and we circle back and redesign again. They both promote independence. They both help grow expert learners. At CAST, this concept of expert learner to us means this is our ultimate goal. We are trying to help grow our learners into being expert learners. An expert learner is someone who learns how they learn best. We give them lots of options along the way for them to mess around with, try. We offer these options with consistency, so we have predictable patterns in our room. They know what's going to be available, and that may grow over time. And then it's up to them to determine which one they need to help them learn best. And that, my friends, is oftentimes contextual, right? So what I need during math class was very different from what I needed during reading time, right? We also promote inclusion in both of these frameworks. They are both inclusive models. All means all. They are also both culturally responsive, and we really need to be intentional about how we make that happen. Because the way that we read about these things or may have experienced them ourselves, this, I think, is always something that is moving on a continuum. And we need to really consider who is in our learning space to make sure that this is happening. All right, UDL. It is focused on instructional, whereas obviously PBIS, positive behavior intervention support systems, just in case, it's behavioral. Lots of flexibility, a tiered approach. We have a lot of options and choice, student voice, building agency, and the two go together phenomenally. I love when you nod, friend. You make me so happy. Thank you. I love it so much. Hi, this is our PBIS wheel, and this is where I see this deep connection. When we universally design, we will be really increasing student engagement, which will thereby increase not only academic, but behavioral. Pausing, are there any comments or questions so far? I am done. Oh, there is a clicker here. That's so nice. I forgot to put mine in. Yay! Oh no, wrong way. I got it. Oh my gosh, I'm so hot. Whew, we're in a sauna for those of you at home. Sorry about that, but it was the only space available. So our guiding question is the universal design process. How might the UDL design process improve behavioral outcomes in the classroom? And here we go. My why. This is my why for UDL, and it's not just because it's mi familia, but when I really think about us as learners, I come with the wonderful asset of having ADHD. It has taken me until I got this role to be able to say that out loud to anyone. My entire life, I have been trying to hide it. It has always been treated as something that I should be ashamed of. I was the kid in the classroom that maybe 20 minutes into my first day, I was already sent with the empty note. Take this to Miss Rodriguez. I go to Miss Rodriguez. Head on down to Mr. Jackson. Okay? So I missed out on a lot of my education because of this. A lot of the traditional structures that I experienced were not accessible to me. My husband is from Jamaica. He grew up in Kingston, and he did not have access to go to school. He is an adult learner, and this is quite a journey that affects our lives every day. Also very reflective to me of all four of my grandparents were from Ireland, and similar story. None of my grandparents had access to education beyond third grade. Both of my grandpas were adult learners and did not know the alphabet until the day that they died. So having that in my life always is a consideration that I'm always thinking through that lens. My son Kieran, he is in 5th grade. Oh my Lord. And he is like, oh my goodness. I believe he's on like a 7th or 8th grade level right now, and in Spanish. I really love you. What a great partner. Thank you, son. He is on like a 7th, 8th, 9th grade level in all subject areas in Spanish and English. So there's that learner. And then there's my little bunny, Kellen. And Kellen, he had to do kindergarten online. Well, I may or may not have passed down my ADHD genes to that one. He did not do kindergarten online. Kellen maybe lasted 5 minutes every day. And so I was really concerned when he was going to go to school. That was not a good experience for him. I thought it scarred him forever. And I also was wondering how he's going to do in our traditional system. Things are going pretty good. He finally paid attention to numbers and letters, which was exciting for me because I never knew that he would. When I look at Mi Familia and I think about, we really represent every classroom. There's going to be this kind of variability in every learning space. And I think that we, in many ways, represent a lot of the margins. And a lot of our design, well, when I'm a curriculum developer, which a lot of them are located in the fabulous city of Boston, where wicked smart people come from, they're designing for the middle, average, fake, mythical student, right? And that's what we're given. And so what we want to promote is considering us being in the space and how do we take that design into our instruction to design to reach all of us. Pausing for comments or questions. Anybody resonating with this idea in any way? I'd love to see from us in here and in the chat if you could give a plus, minus, or a 0 would mean middle. So plus, positive, minus, pretty negative, 0, middle. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. How was your learning experience in general in the education system that you went through? Wow, look around the room. What variability? I feel like it's exactly 33% for each one of those options. That is really interesting. I've never asked that question before. So here's our definition of UDL. Universal Design for Learning is an educational framework based on research in the learning sciences that guides the development of flexible methods, materials, and environments that embrace variability, minimize barriers, and develop expert learning for all. If I had been given the option to simply move my body in class, I probably wouldn't have been kicked out so often. And I know now that exercise is my medicine. I have to move. If I am told to not move, it takes all of my focus and brain power to do just that. And I cannot take in any content. And I just consider that one option. If I had been given space in the back of a classroom, hey, when you need to move, go back there and do a few jumping jacks. Anything like that would have helped me so much. Hence why I walk around with fidgets on me at all times, because I can't think when I'm sitting still. Anybody resonating with this thought? Okay. By the way, fidgets were delivered by my friend Sung. Beatrice, would you be so kind as to just throw some on a few tables while we're in here? Friends at home, I hope you have some fidgets if you need them. So, UDL foundational concepts. We begin by considering that the barrier, it's in the design. It is never in the human. It's in the design of the system, the materials, the curriculum, the instructional practice, the pedagogy. It is never in the learner. Once we recognize that, then we have control. And so, that is the norm, variability. Did you just see that, what happened in this room? All of us had different answers. That is the norm. It is also contextual. So how I am at the beginning of the day is way different from how I am at the end of the day. The more tired I am, the worse my ADHD shows up, the less that I can control that and self-regulate. It can be planned for. One of the goals of UDL is expert learning, and we already discussed that. I have now learned that I need lots of options of ways to move, times to move. Zoom World was actually pretty cool for me because I could just turn my camera off and do 25 jumping jacks and nobody knew. Now that I'm back here at the county office in a glass office, well, Sometimes Beatrice walks by and sees me doing those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, honoring space and time for these things has been really important for me to be able to learn how to learn. And it didn't happen for me until college. So,
Wyatt, you're getting lots of appreciation in the chat for physics and for music, movement, and that kids love it all, and so does your audience.
woohoo! We love you too. Yes, friend, what's your name? Hi, Nicole. What's up?
On your previous slide, mute. Sorry. On your previous. Is this on?
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay. Were you named in the foundational understanding of UDL that the design is not in the person, the barrier? I think my question or my thought that is around that is a former special education teacher thinking about the language that we use when we write individual education plans, often say things like, this child has a challenge or struggles with, right? It actually names the barrier as it being a characteristic of a learner. And so how do we start to change the discourse for education specialists, inclusion specialists who are probably holding 99.9% of the authorship of those documents, right? One that's already a little problematic, but I want to recognize that I know that educators are holding that work to share this idea that we have to change the discourse if we really want to get to this universal design for learning, right? Because even if we're drawing information from our teaching partners, often the conversation is what the learner can't do or what they struggle with or what their challenge is versus even the conversation about the environment or our practices as educators.
I really want to hug you. So first of all, yes, to everything that you just said. I think about the data around how we are over-representing all of these groups of our students. We have African Americans overrepresented in special education all over the state of California. We have English learners. We have, that's not about the human, yo. So we got to pause on that and really deeply reflect how our biases can affect our thoughts and how our thoughts are coming out onto those papers and IEPs through the language that is focused on the human. And our team has been working on this thought for a year. I'm going to ask you to jot down CAST, Cecil, C-A-S-T, C-C-I-L. Google that because I can't remember the exact address. It's like cast.org/Cecil or something like that. We have a webinar series coming up this winter that is speaking to exactly that, my friend. First webinar will be on families, how to enroll families into this shift in mindset. The second webinar will be on a consideration of what if we SST'd the learning environment instead of the human? And the third one will be on how do we take that and put it into the IEP process. So, ideas coming very soon to you, but thank you so much for bringing that up. Oops, wrong way again. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating so much and running behind. Okay. UDL design process. We need to start by setting clear, rigorous goals. Holla to Dr. Emden this morning, right? And holla to that thought of that soft bigotry living within our low expectations. Clear, rigorous goals. We need to anticipate the barriers based on variability, which is what we're going to dive into in a minute. And then after that, we're going to learn how to design options to remove those barriers. So we're going to map a lesson, friends. Variability. This comes from Allison Posey and Katie Novak. I just got to spend a week with Allison Posey. Oh my gosh. She is the most amazing human ever. They put out this book not too long ago. It's a CAST publication, and I love this definition. Variability is the term used to describe just how unique and varied our brains are. No two learners activate the same pathways in the brain. It ain't disability. It is variability. We are moving away from the normal, right? Shelley Moore, what's up? I loved that experience today. That visual is everything to me. Variability is not a problem to solve, but it's a strength to leverage. This is the first year of my life. I am 44 years old. This is the first year since I got this role. Thank you, I've made it that far. I'm shocked too. That I see myself as ADHD being a strength. So for 43 years, I viewed myself through a deficit lens, and I am finally learning the gifts that come with it. And that's crazy. 43 years, I have really not liked myself very much. So here's just another way to consider dimensions of learner variability. We vary on our interest, our effort, and our persistence, our self-regulation, our perception. How do we perceive best? How do we take it in? Our language, our comprehension, our physical navigation, communication skills, executive functioning skills. This is not an exhaustive list, it's just the beginning. Okay, we're gonna take a look at a lesson. Comes from the MTSS storylines. Here are the steps to our lesson. I literally have to just for a minute. Is that okay? I have to. I'm dying. Okay. We're going to imagine yourself as a learner engaging in that lesson. And then you need to consider your emotional response, emotional response to each activity. Is it positive or negative in that moment? And I'll walk you through it. What is your level of engagement? Is it high or low? We're going to plot that along that graph grid that you have in front of you. And then we're going to annotate reasons why you felt these ways. Okay? So the lesson activity is across the top of your paper, and I'm going to open it up. Oh, do I have to, or does it show here? Here we go. So here we go. It's across the top of your paper in chronological order. So the first part of the lesson is a class discussion. Students look at photos of chip bags on a beach, and they make observations and develop questions. Okay? Then the teacher charts responses. We've all been through that. Then the students independently read and take notes on an article entitled Dorito Junkies Hit Jackpot as Beach Cargo Container Spills the Goods Article. I know, it's a pretty cool article title. Thought I read it in a really fun voice. Then we're going to turn and talk. Students discuss the question, where did this container come from? With their partner, and then they share out. The teacher charts responses. Then they're going to create models. Students draw a model to show what they think happened to cause that container to wash up on the shore. Then the students compare the models with a partner. Then they share models. They share about their individual models for the teacher to chart similarities of the class overall. So share with friends, then share out, teacher charts, and then at the end, a discussion connecting the learning to the phenomena. So I'm trying to offer this to you in multiple ways. It's up for you to perceive from the screen. If you are looking at home on your own copy, you've got it paper copy, and I've read it out loud. And are there any questions about how the lesson goes? Okay, well, these are our steps, and we're going to dive in. So I'm going to walk you through an example, and then you all are going to engage in this by yourselves first, and then with whoever's near you if you'd like. The pink is me, which pink is never me. It's really weird I chose that color this time. Like, I don't really ever identify with pink. So the first part. Oh, yeah, I love getting to observe photographs. I love a notice and wonder. It's so fun for me. Give me something visual. There's no right or wrong answer. I can say whatever I want. I can say weird things because I'm thinking them and I'm not in trouble. So I'm all in. I'm like, heck yeah! And I also love the beach because I grew up near it. So yay. Independently read, I want to die. Okay. I can't do that in a classroom ever. It's very challenging for me to sit still and read things. So now I'm crushed. I'm like, oh, class is awesome. Oh, no. Okay. Now I feel terrible about myself. I can't really get past the first probably 4 minutes of it, and then I'm just thinking in my head, what did I just read? What did I just read? Oh, no. Now I'm starting to say negative things about myself. Turn and talk. Oh, I love talking. I'll talk all day, just like Shelley Moore. I mean, you can't stop me. Don't try. But I'm cool, but I'm a little nervous because I didn't get to read the article. So I'm like talking away, and I'm happy about that, but I'm a little nervous because I'm probably not talking at all on topic. And then creating a model. Sure, I love drawing. That sounds fun. But I didn't read the article, so I don't really know what I'm drawing a model about. Then we share models, and oh boy, I am very distracted by all of the models being shared. I am very overwhelmed. What am I supposed to be learning? And then in the wrap up, again, I get to talk again? I'm all in, but I'm still a little nervous, okay? Do we understand that this is like baseline? We ain't feeling so good. We feeling great. Okay, so now, after we plot how we're feeling, we then note why we are feeling that way. Yeah? Okay, any comments or questions so far? So it's called an emotion map or a journey map. Okay, fabulous. So I want you to do this on your own. You can talk while you're doing it. You can do it with a partner. You can talk about each other's. But go ahead. Friends at home, you have a digital copy. It is linked on one of the slides. I really wish I remembered which one right now. But you have a digital copy in there somewhere. It's in the notes box. So please feel free to find that, and you can do it online or you can print it out in paper. All right. I'm excited to see where all of our friends land. Okay. Whenever you're done, you are welcome to join a table if you're alone. If you want to talk to friends, you can talk to the people at your table if you want to. You don't have to. But I'm going to open up the opportunity for you to share your journey maps and tell each other how you're feeling through that lesson whenever you're ready. Am I doing that too quickly? It looks like people are still finishing. All right. When you're discussing, if you choose to, and please feel free to throw things in the chat so y'all can connect. Welcome to open breakup room option. Oh, you can't because we're not a Zoom. So friends, go ahead and talk it up. What are the similarities between you? What are the differences? Go ahead, talk it up if you want. All right, let's try to wrap it up in the spirit of time and wanting to make our next steps happen. Oh my gosh, I love how into this you are. All right, friends, let's try to wrap up our discussion so we can move on. I hate doing this. This is terrible. Are we ready? Sorry. Okay. Whew. I always feel like I am just the biggest jerk when I do that. Okay. I just wanted to give you an example of, let me see. So this is my my co-presenter, my colleague Becky on our team. And I just wanted to show you, Becky and I design together. We co-design a lot, and we co-facilitate a lot together. And we had never considered how our variability may be coming out in our designs and facilitation styles. So we did this together. Becky is yellow. And look at how different we are. She is a total introvert, absolutely hates talking out loud. We never hear from Becky in meetings. But she has amazing ideas, and I really wish we could get them out of her. And then she loves the independent read. She's like, yeah, leave me alone. I do not want to collaborate or share. And then she's okay with a turn and talk because, you know, if it's one person, she's comfortable enough. She hates the model. She hates drawing. And now she's really anxious and nervous, resonating with Becky over here. So she's still really nervous and upset. But she's okay watching other people's get shared and making connections in the end. So I just loved that we did this together, and we were like, wow, how on earth do we ever get our work done together? So I'm going to give you a moment to consider these, and then we can talk at our table groups. So friends at home, if you want to put anything in the chat. First question, what do you notice or wonder about the variability across your maps? If you got the chance to share, or you could consider Becky's if you didn't get the chance to share with someone, me and Becky's. Consider your emotional response and level of engagement throughout the lesson and discuss the impact on behavior. Okay, so now we're connecting. How am I feeling towards the academics? How is my behavior going to be affected by that emotion? what connections might you draw between learner variability and behavior? So what we're trying to get to here is like, what connections could we draw between how we're designing lessons for learner variability and behavior? All right, a little think time. Give me a thumbs up when you feel ready to have a thought sharing at your table. Nicole's ready, up in the back, we're ready. I really wish I could tell how ready you are at home. I hope you're ready. All right, go ahead, talk it up. Love that sound. If you're interested in sharing, I'm here. If not, I'm just standing next to you because you look nice. Thank you, Ruby. And if I'm pressuring you, just say so. Okay. I'm trying to honor your variability right now, but your thoughts are genius. All right, let's bring it back. Is there anybody in the chat that wants to share anything? Folks, I hope someone can chat it up. It's the end of the day. Y'all are exhausted. Okay, we're going to hear some thoughts from you if you would like to share. Our friend Ruby over here is ready to share with you. And she really didn't want to, but I pressured her. And I was a jerk again. I know I did that. All right, friends, thank you. I'm so sorry to cut you off. An hour is just not enough time. It's never enough time. Okay, Ruby was chatting it up with me, and I maybe muscled her into wanting to share with you. Go ahead, Rubes.
Okay, so I did this on my own, and I was letting her know that if we would have done this in the morning, I probably would have like jumped into a table and threw all my ideas in there, but I'm like over socialized, burnt out, you know, not home. I'm in a hotel, traveling. I have class from 5 to 8, presenting a final. So it kind of got me thinking about these students that we're working with and the things that affect like the variability within their variability. So, the time of day. In one of the trainings yesterday, they talked about giving students pretty much full control of what their day looks like, their curriculum, and a lot of them chose, I think it was high school, they chose to do all their academics in the morning. They had a good breakfast, they're awake, hopefully a good night's sleep, and they felt that they could perform better if they did all the academics in the morning and their electives in the afternoon. So yeah, it just got me thinking about even within a person that can shift, that can change based on the time of day, based on whether they had breakfast or not. And then there's students who have 2 homes. Did mom drop off? Do they even know who's picking them up today? So I guess I was just thinking about the importance of understanding variability within variability.
Holla to you, Ruby. That is exactly what we mean. What she just said, variability within the variability, that's what we mean when the way that we phrase that exact concept is variability is contextual, depending on the circumstance, situation, what is asked of you. Anybody else want to share any thoughts about any of these questions? Yes, friend, I'm so glad. What's your name? Paul. Hey, Paul, thanks for sharing.
I found it interesting and kind of connected to this morning's original speaker, Dr. Emden, right? And his talks on the baggage or the trauma that the students bring in, and while they're holding on to that, they can't take on anything more. And in a way, related to this exercise here, it seems like if you're comfortable with the activity, then you're more likely to be comfortable and you feel confident in your abilities to do that activity, you tend to be more comfortable speaking and engaging and sharing it with others. Whereas my own like weaknesses or things that I wasn't as good at, I didn't want to discuss and talk about that, but something that I excelled at, like, yeah, let's talk all about it, and be the front of the class and whatnot. So just getting to the point where we feel safe and comfortable allows us to better engage. And that's no solution, but it's kind of, I guess, the end goal, right?
It is the end goal, and we're going to get to the solutions next step. Nice work, buddy. That's exactly what we're talking about. I was feeling Dr. Emden lit me on fire. I feel like Dr. Emden changed my DNA today. Like, I really do. There's a shift in my DNA. I am a different human. I really am. So thank you for that. And do you mind if I just add one comment to what you said? Not a weakness, my friend. That is your variability, right? And I really want people to start owning this idea. Just because you don't want to share out loud, that is not a weakness. Your thoughts are still brilliant. It doesn't matter how you want to share or even if you want to share or not. So thank you for honoring that. All right, anybody else? Anything in the chat? All right, I hope they're not taking naps out there. You awake? It's late. I know you're tired. Okay. What's a barrier? Barriers are places where learners get stuck or frustrated in a learning experience. Yep, happen to me every 4 minutes in traditional school. Barriers are components of the instructional design that could prevent learners from making progress towards a goal. Simply sitting still took all of my brain power. I could not take anything more in because it took all of my focus just to do that. Still to this day, as you can see. I'm really proud of myself that I haven't thrown this microphone yet while I'm talking like that. The barrier is in the design. It is never in the learner. It is never in the human. Okay, so considerations. Well, now that we've identified barriers, all right, how you're feeling now, what is it that we can do to these 4 buckets that may offer options to reduce or remove those barriers that you just named? I'm feeling this way because of this in the design. Well, we want to consider the materials. How is the content being presented? For example, making me read something. Not a good plan. I'm not taking that in. So what are the physical materials? How is it being inputted into us, the physical things? We want to consider the method. How is it happening? The sharing. This was an amazing conversation, Ruby and Paul. That's right. Are you feeling pressure that you have to share? Okay, that's not good. We want to offer options so that they can choose. And remember, those options will change based on the context. How is the learning being demonstrated? What is the assessment? And if I am being asked to give an oral presentation, am I ready to give it to the whole class? Well, of course I am. I mean, I'll give a presentation to anybody. I don't care. I love talking. Not everybody does. Do they want to give it to you privately, one-on-one with the teacher? Are you that safe friend? Or do they want to maybe, if they're a 5th grader, do they want to present to a group of 2nd graders? Would that be fun for them? Or do they have a special relationship with the custodian? Maybe they could give their oral presentation to the custodian. What options can we design so that they're still meeting the rigor of the standard? They're still designing that, they're still doing the research, they're still making that presentation, but it's just the how that we might shift a bit to lower that effective filter, relax that amygdala so it's not hijacking all of our brain. And what about the learning environment? Am I comfortable? Am I sitting with friends that I feel comfortable with? Or do I want to be all alone because I've had enough socializing today? Yes, we must consider these things. Think of our poet this morning. Think of that poem. That poem shifted me so much. And I saw her later, and I wanted to tell her what a queen she was. And I knew that that wasn't comfortable for her. And she shared that with us, right? And so I'm going to write her a letter, right, and follow up that way. That's a great option. I can still get my thoughts to her. So we want to, this is, again, not an exhaustive list. You're going to come up with a zillion more better ideas than Becky and I did. But here's some thoughts. Readings, not just readings. We want to offer videos, audio, maybe podcasts. Please hand manipulatives to children. Teach them how to use all of the manipulatives and have them available at the back of the room so they have ownership over that space and they know how, where, and when they can get them, right? Because one day, if I'm really focused on multiplication and I know my multiplication tables, I don't need a chart for that. but I'm tired this day, and we're doing division of fractions, and I'm going to have to multiply then, but I really need to learn the concept of the dividing of the fractions, so I might want to lean on that multiplication chart today. Yeah, even though I know my tables, it might just be too much for me. Methods. Switching it up. A lecture, discussion, reading, investigations, inquiry, online platforms, making sure that we are offering options throughout our day. And assessment. Does it always have to be written? Is the standard that we're assessing right now a writing standard? Well then, yeah, maybe it needs to be written. We also have voice to text option, right? And then they can edit it from there. So if writing, I know I had so many students that physically writing was the barrier. Antonio, that little man, he had never felt success in school. And when I started learning about this, I was very fresh and new and just trying things. I'll never forget the first time I said, Antonio, give me that pencil, stab it. And I wrote for him. Oh my gosh, when I graded that essay, he got an 86%. That shifted my entire being. We had all been holding Antonio's intelligence back just by that one thing. Okay. The environment. What protocols are we offering? Are we switching them up often? Are we learning? Are we asking our students what they need? What is it that you need in this moment, sweetie? Are we checking in with them throughout the day? Which protocols do you like? Which ones do you really not like? Our routines, expectations, our physical space, these are all things that we have control over. And so instead of putting in that IEP, right, student is defiant, refuses to participate in group discussions. Doesn't that set a black boy on a track? That is very dangerous thinking. So we switch that and ask him, hey, sweetheart, class discussions, not your thing? What else can we try? He might not know. Offer him some things. Keep trying. He might just want to talk to you or journal it out instead. That's okay. All right, so we are going to now consider what was the barrier and what could be an option that we could offer, right? So for me right here, I'll tell you, making me read. No. Give me a video, yo. I'll take that in, and then let me talk about it. All right, I'm good. That was a simple option to consider. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some time. You go through, do it how you will, independently, honor that. You want to talk with a partner or your table group, honor that. Go ahead and try to think of what is the thing, what is the barrier within that moment of the design? Is it the materials? Is it the method? Is it the assessment? Is it the environment? And once you identify that barrier for yourself, then go ahead and come up with what options you might have enjoyed better. Are there any questions in this moment? Might you have any questions? Have fun. All right, I'm sorry, but I have to do that interrupting thing again. Yikes. I love how engaged we are. Isn't this amazing? Look at this. They won't stop talking. Oh, you're all my friends. You won't stop talking either. This is fun. I love you in that puzzle right now, Rose. You in that puzzle. You are making me so happy. Okay, friends, I'm so sorry, but our session is almost over. And I know y'all want to get out of here. It has been the most amazing day, and you can't wait to share with your friends. All right, let's try to pull it back. Bring it back, bring it back. Could anybody please share one of these moments? Anybody want to share one moment of this part of the lesson made me feel this way because of this, and so this option would have worked better? Could anybody do that for me? One moment in there? Oh my gosh, no? Yes? What's your name?
Lori.
All right, go for it.
So I was definitely am not a creative model. Like if I have to physically make a model or draw it, like that is not my thing. But like if I could find images on the computer and make my model that way, that would work for me.
Boom. What a simple shift. What a simple shift. I love this thought. And I just want to name this, that you don't have to know that digital tool. Can we just free ourselves from that? The children will find the tool and teach themselves in 4 seconds, so don't sweat it. And also don't worry about how am I going to grade, how am I going to make rubrics for all of these different options? You're not going to have to. You use the same rubric because as long as it's got the content in there, it don't matter. Same rubric. All right, so let's relax about those two things. One more person go through this. Hey, thank you. What's your name?
Regina Gottwald.
Awesome.
Hi. So on the class discussion part, I mean, you're always going to have those like probably top 3 or 4 students who love to discuss, and then everybody else is kind of quiet. But just in Zoom, we learned a lot of digital tools. So like a Jamboard, have that displayed, a Padlet, and then they can stick up their responses, and everybody has an equal shot at it.
You are amazing. We learned so much in the digital world. Don't forget it, right? Just like Dr. Emden said this morning, this is one of the things that is making me insane. How did we forget what we just learned and go back to fight for status quo? No, not us in here. Oh, no, we don't. No, we don't, because we are redesigning the system to push back against that status quo. So what we learned today is we need to start with that clear, rigorous goal. We anticipate barriers based on variability. And then we go ahead and we design some options, and we don't sweat about it. They'll figure it out. They'll tell you what you want. You just got to open up that discussion. Think about that power play in your room. Turn it to them, right? You don't decide who gets what and who needs what. Let them tell you. All you got to do is open up the ability for them to have access to it. They'll learn how to do it. Don't you worry about it. All right. Options give learners choice. Choice builds their agency. Power is shifting. Now you are facilitator and not telling them what to do, when to do it. And the agency breeds that expert learning. All right. Thank you so much, my friends. Is there any comment or question before we take off? All right. Fabulous. Thank you. Inclusioneers thrive.